2 people were murdered at the motel last night. What the scene suggests foul play.
A period piece set on the Navajo Nation in the 1970s, the Dark Winds series pairs a predominantly native crew and cast with the likes of Robert Redford and George R. R. Martin. And if Martin's name sounds familiar, it should. His novels A Song of Ice and Fire were adopted into the acclaimed award-winning HBO series Game of Thrones. Cheyenne and Arapaho tribal member Chris Eyre, a Hollywood veteran himself, who came into prominence as the director of the film Smoke Signals, is both an executive producer and director on Dark Winds, which premieres on AMC and AMC Plus on June 12th. I spoke to him about the series.
For somebody that's not familiar with the series, not familiar with the books, what can you tell us about the series itself? What is the series about, and what genre would you put it in?
The series itself, I'm just extremely proud of. It's a crime drama mystery. It has some, I wouldn't go so far as to say supernatural elements. That's too far, but it has some mysterious spiritual gravity to it. Famously, I call it a Native American Southwestern film noir. And I think that's one of the best ways to describe it.
Series leads Zahn McClarnon, Kiowa Gordon, and Jessica Matten also talked to us about their work on the series.
I was aware of the books, Frank. Grew up around the books. I've read quite a few of the books as well. Chris Eyre and Vince Gerardis, Tina Elmo, George R. R. Martin came to me a few years ago and asked me if I wanted to be involved, and I obviously jumped at the chance to be a part of a television show that was strictly Native Americans as the cast. We've only got a couple shows that are doing that right now. It's just a great time for us. So it's, having control of our stories is important. Again, I think we're all kind of standing on our predecessors, Will Sampson and Chief Dan George and Jay Silverheels. And I think, this show is a step towards seeing natives as humans, just making us visible, opening that door for future generations, and having our own voices.
Jessica, were you familiar with the books at all, and what has it meant to represent this community?
I actually have a funny story with that. So one of our first or second weeks on set, George R. R. Martin came to set, and he's like, "So you're Bernadette?" And I'm like, "And you're George?" And he goes, "Have you read the books?" And I said, "None of them." And I said, "But don't worry, I got this." But I work a lot off of instincts when it comes to characters. And as you know, our women in the communities were tough, right? So I was like, I think I could add some spice, some fuego to this character, and I know what to do. I've grown around really tough women my entire life, and everything I learned just watching and observing, like growing up with the kind of Native women around me, I just use that energy and that force and I apply it to this character. But it's a big deal because I work a lot in the Indigenous communities for over 20 years, some of the most isolated communities across Canada in particular. So I work in suicide prevention, addictions counseling, just trying to get these kids on the right foot and the right path. And I use the film industry as a strategy and a tool to get the resources I need for the communities and to bring it back. And, let's be real, you have a platform like this, people do want to partner up with you. So so this show it means so much in so many regards because it's helping to elevate me as a Native woman walking this earth to help my other generation rise as well in a very different and healing way. And so it means a lot.
And Kiowa, same question, but I will also point out, you grew up kind of as a neighbor to the Navajo reservation. And what has it meant to you, aside from this introduction, or maybe you're familiar with the books, but what has it meant for you to portray this community?
I mean, it's an honor, I'm Wallapai, we got our different sides of the Grand Canyon that we sit on. But yeah, I've always been around that area, going through like Window Rock, and, like going to Tuba City or Chinle. So I know the areas, or Saley as well. My dad works with the Navajo. He works in the tribal government there. So he's always been with them since he was 19, you know, learning what it's like to live there, be with them, and he learned the language. And he's kind of taught me a little bit about that. But it's a blessing, you know, to be able to kind of live and breathe in this time and do this work, and portray these awesome characters, with you know, a fresh perspective.
Zahn, what makes this production different? What makes this series different in your mind?
Well, I mean, the obvious, you know, we have a full Native cast. We have a full Native writing room. We have a Native director who did 2 blocks of the show, Chris Eyre. And we have Native producers as well, Chris and I. And that in itself is pretty unique. We have Rutherford Falls going on right now, as well as Reservation Dogs. And I think it's a pretty unique time in representation for Natives in media right now.
Chris, this team boasts, you know, a team of Native writers, a lot of whom are really, really young. What can you tell us about that importance? And I mean, when you talk about authenticity, I watched the series, and I mean, having visited and worked with the Navajo Nation in the past, I mean, you're embedded in it, you know, and that's what it was like. So talk to us about those writers and that authenticity.
It's a lot of new people and a lot of up and coming people, and they have the same desire I had in the 90s. You know, I said, I'm going to make this movie. I'm going to make this movie. I'm going to make this movie. And I had 3 deal breakers to make smoke signals from 95 to 97 with Sherman. And people started to think I was crazy because I said, I'm going to make this movie. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And you have this new group of young writers and directors and actors and producers and filmmakers, and they're blind in the best way to not understanding how difficult it is to get your voice heard. But what matters is that your voice is heard. And I was there, I've been there, I'm still there, which is, you know, it's a matter of give me the microphone. I have something to say. And I think that's what our Native young people should be doing, which is we all have a story to tell. We have an important story to tell. We have an important collective story to tell. And, you know, whether it be Joy Harjo, and she comes to mind because she's carrying this torch as the first Native American poet laureate. And so her story inspired me. So, you know, there's all sorts of Native stories that are just incredible people. And I want to hear those stories. And I think that they deserve to be told. And we've had an absence of that because of the, you know, gatekeeping that says this story is important if it has Kevin Costner in it. You know, this story is important if the protagonist is white. And basically, we see that there's room for more stories now because the audiences demand more diversity.
Anna died of cardiac arrest. She was 20 years old. The coroner said that she was scared to death. I promise you, I'll find who did this to her. There's a witness, but she's blind. What'd she have to say? There might have been 2 men.
Find that money. We crack this case.
Seeketh, and ye shall findeth, saith the Lord.
Must be the season of the wind. Must be the season of the wind.
I saw something last night. It was real.
Real is in the eye of the beholder.
The 6-episode series of Dark Winds is available on AMC and AMC Plus starting June 12th. For FNX Now, I'm Frank Blanquette.